Hi, everybody. Welcome to another chapter of the Right Way Wednesday. This is Tony Barger. I'm the Senior Vice President of Quality Assurance and Compliance and fellow OT. You'll know why that's important here in a second. And I'm here with Nicole Hun.
Hello.
She's our rehab director and also an occupational therapist at the Cypress of Raleigh, which is a retirement community here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So we're excited to talk to you a little bit today about self-care training, which we were joking about just a minute ago, seems to be something that sometimes we forget about, which is shocking as OTs, but it's worth great discussion today. So, I think we all kind of think about self-care and the basic things that we know is, someone's dealing with a hip replacement or recently sustained a CBA and there's a need for adaptive dressing training. We're using adaptive equipment and things such as that. Other facets as well, but there's a whole lot more to self-care than probably what we think about each and every day. And Nicole and I were having a great discussion about how that looks for her day and how that looks with all of the members that she works with each and every day. And we talked about a great example just a minute ago. So I'm going to let Nicole tell you a little bit about kind of a great example of how self-care training can really come in many different forms and fashions. So Nicole? Yeah.
Hi. So in our community, I think that we have a lot of people who have cognitive deficits, and so that's one of the first things that I do when I initially evaluate somebody is to look at if they have cognitive deficits, if it's affecting their medication regime, and then if it's affecting how they do their daily tasks. So recently I evaluated a resident, and she is very enthusiastic and she's very outgoing. So she tries to mask a lot of her cognitive deficits. And when I actually did a slums on her, she scored a 17 out of 30, indicating that she does have dementia. So we kind of had this then discussion, well, how is this affecting you on a daily basis? And she wanted to then make kind of a list. We talked about different compensatory strategies that she could use in her daily life. And so we said, why don't we try to make a list of the things that she needs to accomplish every day? And so we came up with different things on this list. And one of them was, bathe, dress, make sure that she takes her medication daily. And then she had the things on the list like, reading the newspaper or checking her email.
Which she said she didn't really want to do, so she's putting it low on the list.
She wants to put
right?
that lower
Yeah.
on the list,
Yeah.
yes. But I think all of that is part of self-care. I think all of that is part of things that residents need to do on a daily basis, and sometimes that gets a little bit neglected. And one of the biggest things, of course, then too, is medication management. So we kind of came up with a strategy for her on using a pill box, and she was then going to use that on her checklist to make sure that she looks at the pill box and takes then the medication every day in the morning.
Yeah, one of the things I thought that was really fascinating when Nicole and I were talking about this before is because this patient or resident was so aware of her challenges that she actually was able to communicate that to Nicole and say, oh, I think I need to add this to the list. Like, she knows that's a routine that needs to be accomplished, but she's recognizing that she doesn't have the capacity to remember on her own, and so she's needing that help on the strategy side. And I think that's something we forget about a lot, not only in our documentation, but just generally in our practices, is that the goal of our treatment may be to actually, one, identify where those challenges are, but the second part is that it's the actual strategy. It's working through that together and working with the patient or resident to identify what that strategy is and how to be successful, and then carry that system out once therapy's done.
And actually what works for that resident, because one resident may want the list and the next resident will say, absolutely not. There's no list for me. I don't want it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it just gets us to think a little bit differently about beyond just the basic skills of feeding themselves, getting to the toilet on their own, getting dressed and bathed in the morning, that there's so many other layers, but it all does come back to that it is really self-care training, and what we're working on. So we thought we'd give you some cool, fun, unique, different ways of thinking about self-care training. So we're going to actually show you what that looks like now. Hi there, Miss Hun.
Yes.
Yeah, how are you today?
I think I'm okay.
It seems like you might be having a little trouble. Is there something I can help you with?
I'm trying to find, I'm supposed to be taking something, in the morning. The doctor said I need to take something. And I can't remember. It's, you know, it's that thing that you have to take every day.
Yeah, you know what I see over here on the on your sink here is there looks like there's a pill organizer. Is that what you're looking
yeah,
for?
Yeah, that's what I need. I think I need this.
Have you, it looks like the pills aren't in there quite yet. Do we want to take a couple of minutes and we can go in here together and try to see if we can put that together so it's a little easier for you?
Yes, please. That would be great. Hi, Mr. Barger. It's Nicole from Occupational Therapy.
Well, hey there. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It looks like you're having a little bit of trouble. Do you want to stop for a second?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find my, I see one of them over there. I'm trying to find the other one.
So why don't we stop? Because right now you're doing something pretty unsafe.
Oh,
Let's see if we can try to turn the walker around so that you're using it the correct way. And we might need to make sure that this walker
this is kind of tight, isn't it?
And we might need to make sure that that walker is at the correct height for you.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like I'm bent over.
Let's see if we can take some of those obstacles out of the way, because you might fall over there. And then maybe if you want, you can sit down, because you're walking on the hardwood floor with socks on.
Yeah, I got a hole in it. I think I need some new socks.
Maybe. And then maybe we can try to find your shoes for you so that it would be a little bit safer. You can walk with your shoes on.
Yeah, I think it's in that closet.
Okay, let's see if we can find them.
Ah, yeah.
There you go. I think your other shoe is on the floor over here.
Yeah, I don't know how it ended up over there.
Sometimes we can use a long-handled reacher to see if we can get that shoe off the floor to make it a little bit easier so that you don't have to bend down.
Ah, that's better.
There you go. I think that's a little bit safer. And then when you stand up, don't forget to reach for the bed and push up and then try to stand up. There you go. That's a whole lot safer.
Hey there, thanks again. I hope you guys found some of our scenarios interesting, and it kind of gave you a different perspective to be thinking about self-care. It comes in many forms and fashions. We've enjoyed kind of the time talking about self-care. Again, it's kind of the forgotten ADL really of what we're working on as OTs, but appreciate everybody's time with that. Thanks again for tuning in for the Right Way Wednesday. We look forward to the next chapter, and just a helpful reminder, just like the airlines, we have a safety card or self-care training resource that's available for rehab directors. It's available on the company documents folder on your desktop, and for all of our clinicians, it's available to you on the doc tool icon on your iPad device. So for Nicole and I, thanks so much, and look forward to the next chapter of the Right Way Wednesday. Have a good one. Bye-bye.